All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our reading of Rich and Righteous, the spiritual secrets to mastering money, manifestation, and your mind. We've been at it for about 2 weeks now, and we are now on page 22. And today we are covering Is Money the Root of All Evil? Is money the root of all evil? Some of our hangups about money is what's preventing money from coming into our lives easily and abundantly and frequently. And so, one of the biggest ones is the perception that money is the root of all evil. And so today we're going to dispel that myth as we continue to read Rich and Righteous. Again, 2 weeks ago, Spirit moved me. I wrote this book 2 years ago at the beginning of COVID because I knew that the world was going to slip into a poverty consciousness and scarcity. And so I had quit my job January 9th, 2009 at the bottom of the last recession. And because of my money mindset, because of my abundance mindset, because of my wealth consciousness, I was able to navigate that without fear, doubt, or worry and step into the abundance that you know me to have today. And so as we were slipping into that in COVID, this book was divinely downloaded to me and through me. And now that the collective consciousness is talking about recession, Spirit moved me and said, read it out loud to folks. Okay. And so I'm doing this every morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on weekdays. You can see the schedule posted on my Instagram. Again, that's 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every weekday. We're typically reading anywhere between 3 to 5 pages. There are 66 sections in the book. Some of them are longer than others. So sometimes we split the sections. Sometimes we just complete an entire section. Today we're reading Is Money the Root of All Evil? And this is a deep one. And it is 4 pages. So I think we will finish this today. If you would like to get the book, you can go to moneyandmanifestation.com. That's moneyandmanifestation.com. The book is $100. The book is $100. Yes, this is no $10 book. This book will create more than $100 of wealth in your life just based on the money mindsets that it teaches you. All right. Now, when you buy this book, you get 5 copies. 1 for you and 4 to put into circulation. And the way to stimulate your own personal economy is to immediately enter a state of giving. And so I'm giving you 4 additional books to stimulate your personal economy. We're not waiting for a stimulus check from the government. Okay. We stimulate our own personal economy by giving. Right. Once you enter a state of giving, you recognize that you have something to give, which puts you in a state of abundance. Right. And once you're in that state of abundance, then it's about holding that frequency as long as you can. All right. So with that, we're going to continue our reading right now. And if you have the book, we are on page 22. And today we are covering Is Money the Root of All Evil? Okay. So here we go. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That's First Timothy 6:10. And so that's a famous scripture. It's used and cited frequently. And we need to decode that and really get to understand what that scripture is trying to tell us about our relationship to money. Okay. Money is not the root of all evil. The scripture is clear in that it says the love of money is the root of all evil. I would also add that the love and lack of money are the root of all evil. When you love something, you put it above all else. Therefore, when you love money, you put it above God. How could you love the substance more than the source of the substance? How could you love the substance more than the source of the substance? This is not to say that you can't love many things at once, but there are levels to love. We may say we aspire to love unconditionally, but there are people who you love and would die for, and people you love who you would not risk your life for. Nobody loves everyone the same except God. It makes sense to love people, but does it make sense to love things? How do we start putting things over people? In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, or Atom and Eve, or the division of the first atom, yes, in case you thought it was a coincidence, it's no coincidence that Adam is a personification of the smallest molecule, which is an atom, ATOM. It is the perfect name. Again, I tell you that this book, the Bible, is divinely written. And somehow also this writer, whoever created this book, knew that the translation would end up in English in some way, could foresee the future in that way, God being the Alpha and Omega. And you can see how the language is so perfect in that they personified Adam as a being, but if you actually really look at it, it's actually atom. And this Garden of Eden story represents the splitting of the first atom, right? Because where did Eve come from? Eve came from Adam's what? Adam's rib. Now, when you look around an electron, what does it have around it? It has orbitals or ribs. It's no coincidence, family, okay? In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, or Atom and Eve, which you know, Eve means beginning, right? Or just before, as in Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, or evening, okay? Supposedly ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This allegory speaks to us as human beings exploring the duality of good and evil, right and wrong, light and darkness. This dualistic perspective that something is either right or wrong, this or that, and cannot be both or neither is the cause of almost all confrontation. When we apply this dualistic thinking to money, the result is a flawed financial perspective. If someone believes rich people are evil, the belief behind that belief, or the belief that may be born from that belief, is that money comes from doing evil or that money itself is evil. I'm going to repeat that. If someone believes rich people are evil, okay, there is a connection in many people's minds that rich equals evil, okay? Corrupt capitalism. Not all business is corrupt, okay? We talked about conscious capitalism earlier, okay? If someone believes rich people are evil, if that neurological connection is in your mind that rich equals evil, okay, the belief behind that belief, or the belief that may be born from that belief, is that money comes from doing evil or that money itself is evil. So we're starting to examine our own mind and how these neurological connections that we've made or been programmed with, that rich equals evil, therefore money itself is evil. We have to break those connections because they're not true. So if you see yourself as a good person, then you trapped yourself in a cage built by your beliefs, because if money is evil, then no money is what? Good. I'm going to repeat that. So if you've made the connection that money is evil, but if you see yourself as a good person, then you trap yourself in a cage built by your own beliefs, because if money is evil, then no money is good. This is the problem with dualistic thinking. It traps you. This was the problem with eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The apple, there's no apples in the Middle East, family. In fact, it doesn't even say apple in the Bible, okay? But that's what they painted, and we got outpainted. This is why you see white angels and things of that nature, because we got outpainted. We were so committed to oral tradition that they started painting it, and we know the power of an image. An image speaks 1,000 words, and we haven't caught up in terms of painting the imagery. But on top of that, we as people of color, as original man and woman on earth, we know that God is not a human being, big human being in the sky. We know God to be spirit. So there's actually nothing to paint. How do you paint spirit? Spirit doesn't have a color, but they decided to actually personify God as a big man in the sky, as a father in the sky, in the same way that the story of Adam and Eve, right, personifies the atom and the splitting of the first atom. It's personification. When you give something that is non-human, human characteristics. So we treat God as a father, or we call God as a father, and this father is mad at us when we do bad and loves us when we do good. We did that. We made God in our own image. The scripture says God made man in its image. Let us make man in our image. But what we did instead to try to understand God from our limited human perspective is we made God in our image. Okay? So therefore, you gaining money goes against your idea of being a good person, and you subconsciously self-sabotage and reject wealth from coming into your life. I got to read that again. So if you see yourself, if you come to the belief subconsciously, okay, that rich equals evil and money equals evil, if you see yourself as a good person, then you trapped yourself in a cage built by your beliefs, because if money is evil, then no money is deemed as good. Therefore, You gaining money as a good person goes against your idea of being a good person, and you subconsciously self-sabotage and reject wealth from coming into your life. Okay. Paragraph 2 on page 23. The rich are America's number one lust and number one villain. Hence shows like Billions, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, or American Greed. False beliefs about money result in slogans that demonize the 1% simply because they have acquired a lot of money. The best way to keep people poor is to make them believe money is evil. The best way to keep people poor is to make them believe that money is evil. This is why the Occupy Wall Street movement falsely targeted the 1%. It wasn't because everyone in the 1% was wrong, but because we've been programmed to believe that being rich is wrong and cannot be righteous. This is why I wrote this book, because I believe, and I'm actually a walking demonstration of what it means to be rich and righteous at the same time. It is a tightrope. It is not an easy walk, okay, to hold both at the same time, because money has such a powerful influence, so much so that 13 of Jesus's 39 parables were about money, okay? So this is an energy, a frequency that we have to know how to command. We have to master it before it masters us, okay? Paragraph 3. What if the 1% are good people, but they just worked harder or smarter than you did? See, it's so easy to say, oh, the 1% this and that, they should pay more, all that stuff. It's so easy to demonize people who are doing what you're not willing to do and therefore have things that you don't have. What if they were willing to take risks that you were not? What if they had the courage to walk in their purpose and the economic resources provided to them were a gift from God? We know that God is the one who giveth and take away wealth, right? So why would God give wealth to them if they were so evil? Okay. Are you grateful? Has Bill Gates done some crazy stuff? And yeah, but are you grateful that you were able to use computers? Yes or no? Has Bill Gates done some things? Yeah, under the radar, if you really do the research. But are you grateful for the fact that you can use a computer today? That computers are widespread and allow you to connect with people all over the world that you love and care about? These are some of the trade-offs. One cannot honestly believe that everyone who crosses a certain financial threshold is evil. Just think about that. Yeah, everybody who's in the 1% is evil. So everybody that crosses into the 1%, just that automatically makes them evil. Who determines what that threshold is? Is that threshold for anyone who has more money than you? The threshold of evil for many people is anybody who has more money than me. That's what they're really saying. Anybody who has more money than me must be evil, because I'm out here working hard and doing good and following the doctor's orders and doing what I'm supposed to. And so anybody who has more than me, they must be scamming. They must be evil. They must be doing something that's not right because they have more than me. That's literally the conversation that is subconsciously happening for people. Are the top 5% evil? What about the top 10%? Are they evil? What happens if you were ever to cross that financial threshold? What if all of a sudden you ended up in the 1%? Would all of a sudden you become evil too? You see how you've trapped yourself with your own beliefs about money or the correlation that rich equals evil? Because the moment that you cross into it, are you just the exception to the rule? So you holding this fake financial threshold of people who have this much money must have done something evil, you are actually preventing yourself from ever entering into that threshold. And the reality is that you must enter that threshold. We need more people with righteous intentions who want to do right by other people and by the world to be in the 1%. But if you have a negative perception of what it means to be in the 1%, then it will actually subconsciously prevent you from ever getting there. Okay? Would you suddenly become evil if you enter the 1%, or would you be the one exception to the rule? A lot of our programming comes from when we were children, especially our financial programming, even though we were just learning arithmetic at the time. If you think about many of the cartoons you watched as a kid, or even movies produced by Unholywood, Movies produced by not Hollywood, unholy wood. Most of the villains were rich and greedy. Lex Luthor was rich, evil, greedy. Lex Luthor, Lex Luthor was the rich, evil, greedy man against Superman, who of course stood for righteousness. Mr. Burns was Homer Simpson's rich, evil, greedy boss who takes capitalism to the extreme. Cruella de Vil is the rich, evil, glamorous woman who kidnaps Dalmatians for their fur. This continues into adulthood with fictional characters such as Marvel's Magneto, Jabba the Hutt in Star Wars, Tywin Lannister in Game of Thrones, or Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. This subconsciously teaches you to hate the rich and hate money and thus repel it. You can't have money and hate money at the same time. You can't have money and hate money at the same time. Those are two incongruent beliefs. When it says a house divided against itself cannot stand, I've told you that house in the Bible metaphorically means mind. So when your mind is divided, it cannot stand. You cannot say that you hate rich people, but you want to be rich. Those are two incongruent thoughts, and this is why you're at a standstill. Because one is pulling you this way and the other one is pulling you this way. It's a tug of war, and the flag is hanging in the middle. Okay? They're competing against each other. Greed, not green, is the source of our earthly problems. Greed comes from the false belief in scarcity or poverty consciousness. Scarcity is the belief that there is not enough, you won't have enough, you are not enough, and God is not enough. Someone can have a lot of money in hand and still have a poverty consciousness in their head. I'm going to repeat that. Someone can have a lot of money in their hand and still have a poverty consciousness in their head. Greedy folks want more than they need because they believe there is not enough. As a result, they take from other individuals, and this is where unrighteous behavior begins. But God is the God of abundance. There is no lack in God. When things are obtained unrighteously, the fear of God's wrath, which is just karma, erodes the soul from within. Greed is the path to becoming materially rich, but spiritually broke. Instead, what if you believe that money is a result of doing good? What if you just change your mental construct right now that money is the byproduct or the result of doing good? You could just change that in your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of what? Your mind. You can literally change a belief from rich is evil, right? Or money is evil to money is a result of doing good. Money comes to me when I do more good. The more good I do, the more money I have. You can literally just start affirming that until that new thought and belief, right, replaces the old one that you had. And once that changes within you, you will start to see it manifest differently outside of you. Would that free you up to stop judging and blaming and actually harness the God-given power in you to manifest the life you desire and bring heaven on earth? Money can help solve many problems in today's world. But the righteous who have a positive charge simply don't have enough money because of a subconscious belief that lots of money is bad and less money is good and noble. Jesus said, I am come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. Poverty, scarcity, lack, fear, doubt, worry, struggle, stress, and brokenness are not characteristics of God or children of God. That is not our birthright. We are acting out of character when we do so. We sin. We are acting out of character, and when we do so, we sin. Sin literally means to miss the mark. It does not banish you to some place called hell, some fictitious place called hell. Okay? Talk about the fire and brimstone of hell. When you leave this earthly experience, this body temple deteriorates. So if you leave this earthly realm, if heaven and hell are after you die, but after you die, you become a spirit, how are you going to get burned in hell when you were a spirit? Just somebody answer that to me. Somebody answer me that. If you transition here and you leave the body and now you are spirit, how are you going to get burned in hell? Can somebody explain that to me? You have no body. What is there to burn? You are spirit. You are etheric substance. You're a soul. It's crazy, yo. These churches, this religion, man, got us all twisted up. Okay? We are acting out of character when we do so, and when we do so, we sin. By sin, I don't mean you are damned to hell. In archery, to sin means to miss the mark. And that's what many of us are doing due to our programming and many money myths. Okay. I believe that the belief in scarcity is the root of all evil because it leads to the love of money and the lack of money. I believe that the belief in scare-city, okay, is the root of all evil because it leads to the love of money and the lack of money. Notice I said the belief in scarcity. Scarcity is not real, but you can make, by believing in scarcity, you can make it real in your own experience. If you look around you, God is abundant. How many apples does an apple tree produce? And then how many seeds are in each apple in that apple tree? Everything that God creates is abundant. Everything. That is our default state of being. I'm come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. But it's the belief, the false belief in scarcity. Scarcity is not real, but it's the false belief in scarcity that is really the root of all evil. Money is not scarce. We talked about that a couple days ago. We said, where is money? And what's the answer, family? Where is money? What's the answer? Where is money? It is everywhere. We did the exercise of looking around the room and the room that you're in, and just listing all the ways that you see money was made and transferred just to create the room that you're in, right? So when we recognize that money is an inert spiritual substance, it is stored energy, it is all around us, and it's potentiality that we can simply tap into if we want to have it in our hands, then we realize that money is not scarce. Okay. There's infinite possibilities. And out of those possibilities, when they are made tangible and manifest, then we know that money gets generated from them. Okay. The land of milk and money is as abundant as you believe it to be. Nor is money evil. Nor is money evil. It is negatively or positively charged by the hand that holds it and the direction it is used. So money is not evil. It is charged. It is an inert spiritual substance, and it is charged by the person, the charge of the person who has it. Are you a negative person or are you a positive person? That charges this inert spiritual substance. And then from there, the direction with which you use it. So a negative person, okay, can have money, but then chooses to use it for charity. Okay. But their default state is negative and still based in scarcity. All right. So it is negatively or positively charged by the hand that holds it and the direction it is used. Money is good because I make it so. Did you hear that? Money is good because I make it so. I use this energy to create as much good in this world as I possibly can. I make money good. And we need more righteous people to have more money to make more money good. I make money good because of who I am when I hold it. And I only hold money temporarily because it's not meant to be held. It's not meant to be accumulated. It's meant to be circulated. And then me being a good steward, how I use it. I use it for good. I circulate it towards good. Ideals, ideas, individuals, institutions, and investments I believe are doing good or God's work. I make money good. I take this inert spiritual substance and I make it good. Negativity has a charge, but no material mass. This is physics, y'all. Negativity has a charge, but no material mass. A negative electron only weighs 1/2000th of a proton. This is physics, family. A negative electron only weighs 1/2000th of a proton. The negative charge is necessary to preserve balance, right? However, it does not have material mass in our individual experience, which I call our personal economy, or our collective experience, which we call the economy. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. The negative charge is necessary to preserve balance. However, it doesn't have to have a material mass in our individual experience, which I call our personal economy, or our collective experience, which we call the economy. Okay. Every dollar or unit of stored energy that flows to and through me is made good because I transmute it into ideas, individuals, institutions, and investments I believe are doing good or God's work. When we lack money, it makes it harder for us to do good or God's work. How many of you would do more good with more money? How many of you would do more good with more money? All of you. All of you would. That's why you're here. And so, what do I want for you? I want you to have more money. I want you to have more money. You need to have more money. I don't even just want it. I know that you all need to have more money, because if you had more stored energy at your disposal, and disposal is the wrong word because disposal means trash, right? If you had more money in your stewardship, I know that the world that we co-create would be better because of your heart, not because of your education, not because of your resume, because of your heart, because of who you are as a righteous person on this planet. You are not just here for self, you are here in service to others. And the secret to success is service. That's what I found. The more people I serve, guess what? The more successful I become. I'm not self-serving. I'm not just here for myself. The more people I've served on my journey, the more successful I become. Not only materially, but also spiritually. Both rich and righteous. Every idea that you have to serve other people does not have to become a nonprofit. Every idea that you have to serve other people does not have to become a nonprofit. You just have to think more creatively about it to say, how can this actually stimulate a for-profit entity? How can I actually make money doing this thing? Okay. We default to nonprofit because we just don't want to tap into the creativity that is there to be able to create a blessing model and a business model that go hand in hand. Remember, you need two things. You need a blessing model, which is how you give, and a business model, which is how you receive. And when we don't want to do the work about the business model, right, we just focus on the blessing model, and then that becomes a nonprofit. And then the nonprofit executive director spends all their time, what? Raising money. Instead of actually doing the work, the nonprofit executive director ends up spending 80% of their time raising money because they couldn't figure out a business model that would support their blessing model. Your nonprofit, your idea that would serve other people could actually scale faster if you figured out a business model that went along with your blessing model, rather than relying on donations all the time. That's a nonprofit rat race. Yes, that is a nonprofit rat race. Executive directors spending all their time chasing money from donors. That if they sat down and thought creatively enough, we could actually figure out a business model that doesn't require you to chase donations. That's a nonprofit rat race. You thought you were leaving the rat race to go to a nonprofit? Nope, you end up in the nonprofit rat race. Okay. Where are we? We're at the bottom of page 25. Okay. Every dollar or unit of stored energy that flows to and through me is made good because I transmute it into ideas, individuals, institutions, and investments I believe are doing good or God's work. When we lack money, it makes it harder for us to do good or God's work. Instead of walking in our purpose, we work for someone else's. Instead of walking in our purpose, we end up working for someone else's. Now, if their purpose is aligned with God and your purpose, that is fine. But if it is not, you will be taxed spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. Anytime you are not walking in your God-given purpose and you think, oh, I have to go over here to make money and then I'll do good in the evenings, I'll do good on the weekends, but I got to go make this money to pay my bills, there is a cost to that. And you will be taxed spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially for not being in alignment with your God-given purpose. It is literally lack of faith. Why would God give you a purpose, right? Create you for a specific reason and then not give you everything you need to succeed at that thing? We all talk about, oh yeah, I have faith. Well, how come you're not demonstrating that in your walk? What have you done recently that has demonstrated your faith? where you've stepped into the unseen and the unknown? What have you done? You can say you have faith all the time, but you stuck on the corporate plantation doing work that you hate, serving a business that is not serving people. I could never work for Philip Morris, the cigarette company. That would eat at my soul. I remember I had a contract with when I was speaking at corporations, I had a contract with a defense contractor, and it was to help their employees perform higher. After receiving that check, I realized that was the dirtiest money I ever received. This defense contractor literally makes weapons that end up going and harming people of color all over the world. And I was serving them, trying to help their employees become better. Once I got that check, never again. That was the dirtiest money I ever received in my life. I'm not proud of it, but I learned from it. I do not give my God-given energy, because we know that the greatest currency is here. I don't give my God-given energy to anything that is not doing good, to any organization, to any individual. There's boundaries. I will find ways to channel my energy elsewhere. I don't work for money. Money works for me. Page 26. Accepting that money is just stored energy that gives you more power to do good will change how you feel about money, how you get money, how much money you have, and how you use it. Again, accepting that money is just stored energy that gives you more power to do good will change how you feel about it, how you get it, how much money you have, and how you ultimately use it. That is the end of this section. A knife, family. A knife can be used to stab somebody. A knife can be used to slice bread. The knife itself is not good or bad. It is the intention of it is a spirit or individual that is holding it that determines its use, whether to be used for good or bad. And the same is true for money. And for whatever reason, unrighteous folks, and what I mean by unrighteous folks, people who are self-serving and put this over people, put profit over people, they don't have hangups about money. And therefore, they tend to have more money than us who are righteous and have this false belief that being poor and broke and sacrificial is noble and is godly. And it is not. It is not a characteristic of God. Poverty is not a characteristic of God or God's children. And it's time for us to step into our inheritance. So with that, that concludes our reading for today of Rich and Righteous, Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. If you would like to get physical copies of the book to follow along, you can go to moneyandmanifestation.com. Okay, that's moneyandmanifestation.com. The book is $100. And you have to ask yourself, this is actually your first act of wealth consciousness and accepting that abundance is your birthright. If you believe that this $100 is more valuable than this book, then you are not ready yet. You're not ready yet. You still believe in this. And this is just flat cotton. The US dollar is 75% cotton. This will actually create more of this in your life. This knowledge, this money mindset that I'm downloading into you right now will create many more of these in your life. But if you are still locked into, nope, I'm not giving up my $100, okay, then you're still stuck in poverty consciousness because you don't understand that cash is the lowest yielding asset in the entire world. The only reason we value cash is because it is liquid, meaning that it can be converted into the other forms of capital, which we discussed yesterday, easily. I can put it into personal capital by investing in the Strengths Finder or some assessment, right? I can put it into intellectual capital by buying a course, right? I can put it into social capital by becoming a member of a society, right? I can buy physical capital like a computer with it. I can buy human capital, right, through Fiverr or hiring an employee with this. This is the only reason we value financial capital in this form, okay? So when you buy the book, you get 5 copies. One is for you. The other 4 are for you to give away. It says, as you give, so you shall receive. So in order to stimulate your personal economy, guess what? I want to put you in a state of giving immediately. And so now you can give this book of abundance that is worth way more than $100 to 4 other people so that they can be on the same wavelength with you. You have to change the consciousness of those around you too, because if you're still hanging around people who have a poverty consciousness, it will infect you. So again, that is moneyandmanifestation.com. That is moneyandmanifestation.com to get 5 copies for the price of 1. You will also get the audiobook, the full audiobook, and you will also get the rituals workbook that goes along with it. All right. So we'll be back here tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be reading tomorrow. So set a phone alarm right now, Instagram and YouTube. We'll be reading Is Money True Wealth? We're going to be reading Is Money True Wealth tomorrow, and that is only 3 pages. So we should be quick tomorrow, and then we'll get into the next major chapter, which is Abundance is Your Birthright. All right. So I wish you a great day. I wish you abundance today. I would love to hear your stories. For those of you who have been with us since the beginning, or just over the time that we're doing this reading of Rich and Righteous, I would love to hear your stories. So DM me if you are starting to see changes in your relationship to money. If you're seeing money manifest in your life in new ways, I would love to hear your stories as we go on this journey. Okay. So again, moneyandmanifestation.com, set a phone alarm, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And I will see you then. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Peace.